Hello and welcome to another episode of the program. I'm Simisola Atiku. Our reactions have emerged after former Vice President Atiku Abubakar declared that he will support Peter Obi if the People's Democratic Party (PDP) chooses him as the party's flag bearer in 2027. The 2023 PDP presidential candidate disclosed this during a recent interview with BBC Hausa Service, saying that he won't contest if the party zones the ticket to the South-South or South-East. Speaking on the possibility with the PBC Hausa, Atiku noted that a merger between the PDP and Labour Party is possible. The former vice president's position was also revealed at a private meeting between Obi, Atiku and some other PDP leaders in Abuja on Monday, May 13. Obi, who was the Labour Party candidate in the 2023 presidential election, also met separately with former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido and former Senate President Bukola Saraki. The meeting has sparked speculations about a merger of some opposition political parties ahead of the 2027 general elections. This is the first political meeting of the former Anambra State Governor with his former political allies after he defected from the PDP to Labour Party in May 2022. Well, joining me to discuss this further is political affairs analyst Jide Ojo. Thank you very much for joining me, sir. Now, what do you make of the recent move by Labour Party's presidential candidate Peter Obi visiting his former political allies ahead of the 2027 presidential elections in the country?
So, the meeting of Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of Labour Party, with former presidential candidate of People's Democratic Party, that's Atiku Abubakar, last week, does not come to me as a surprise, given the fact that after every elections, there are alignment and realignment of political forces ahead of the next general elections. And not a few people have said if Atiku Abubakar had teamed up with Musa Kwakwanso and Peter Obi, they could have defeated the APC presidential candidate in the last election. That is still within the remit of speculation, but if you look at the figures, what each of these three candidates scored, and the fact that they left PDP, Peter Obi left PDP, Kwakwanso left PDP, and then you also have a scenario where 5 of the PDP governors refused to work for the presidential candidate of their party, that's Atiku Abubakar. So that created the pathway to victory for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in last year's presidential elections. So Peter Obi meeting with Atiku Abubakar was just an aftermath of the clarion call by Atiku Abubakar last year for the opposition party to meet and work out a merger, if possible, or at worst, a working alliance ahead of 2027. But as far as I'm concerned, what can effectively help the opposition party is a merger, because when you say working alliance, someone can back out of the alliance at the last minute. Alliance is just marriage of convenience. But when you have a party dissolving into another one to form a mega party, then you are in serious business and you want to put in everything to make sure you succeed in that venture.
So with these consultations made by Obi, do you agree with the assertion that made by the ruling party that it's out of desperation and it would amount to nothing ahead of the 2027 presidential election?
The incumbent party, the APC, can say what they like. You don't also want them to glamorize what the opposition are doing. But, this is the same position taken by PDP before 2013, when APC was formed. PDP also dismissed Alliance for Democracy, All Nigeria People's Party, Congress for Progressive Change, and a faction of ABGA led by Rocha Sokorocha and the new PDP then. The mainstream PDP dismissed them as jokers and unserious. But, you know, eventually we saw the seriousness in the business of APC. So APC leadership is copying from the same textbook by dismissing the attempt by opposition political parties to form a merger. It's not surprising, but I tell you, they are watching this scenario closely. And once they see that a new mega party has been formed that can effectively challenge the ruling All Progressive Congress, then you will see the APC will be singing a new tune. I recall at that time in 2013, where the PDP even tried to frustrate APC from using the name APC, claiming that it's a plagiarized name and all of that. So that is in the nature and character of political parties and their politicians. They first will take you on serious, but when they see the vigor, the zeal, the enthusiasm that you are working out, and if eventually the opposition parties succeed in getting our next nod with a registration certificate, it's then that APC will know that another party has been formed that will give them a run for their money in 2027. So it's normal and natural for the APC to first dismiss and take the opposition parties as being unserious. But as days go by, as the opposition work hard at it, if they are able to cross the hurdle and get a new registration and dissolve into a mega party, then you are not likely going to hear the same thing being said by the APC.
A familiar name was also mentioned. That's the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, as the man that frustrated Obi out of the PDP, based on his presidential ambition. How do you react to these claims made by Atiku's aide?
There are multiple factors that are responsible for the exit of Peter Obi. First is that the mistake by zoning, by throwing open the contest for presidential aspirants in PDP, when the constitution of PDP actually talked about power rotation between North and South. And with Buhari's 8 years, power should ordinarily rotate to the South. But they were saying, oh, this is Buhari's reign was not within the PDP. So they threw open the gate and it became an all-comers affair. And of course, Peter Obi must have done his own work and saw that he may not be able to match an Atiku Abubakar being in the race. Likewise, Wike. But don't forget that it wasn't only Wike that was a southern aspirant in the PDP last year. There were also people like Anyim Payosai. There were several other Igbo South people who also showed interest. There is no way Peter Obi will run away from contest. So if anybody says he was run out of PDP by Wike, That means he was not man enough to want to run for the presidency of Nigeria. Because if he has done his own work and he has the support of the northern Nigeria, definitely he will have won. We know what Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu faced, the opposition he faced within the APC, being a southern aspirant as at that time. And even the former Senate president, president of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, saying that, what the former national chairman of APC said to the National Working Committee of APC, that President Buhari has endorsed Ahmed Lawan as the anointed candidate for APC. But the Governors Forum, went and met with Mr. President and said, look, we have to allow for power shift. So you cannot just anoint one person. And eventually, it was an open contest. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu won. Even if Peter Obi is afraid of Wike in the lead up to 2023, how is he so sure that in 2027 he will still not face a Wike? Because Wike, as we know as of today, is still a member of the People's Democratic Party. And is still within his right to contest. So the answer to that question is still very speculative, but I know it's not just the Wike factor that may have led to the exit of Peter Obi. There is also the Atiku factor. There could also be other variables, but it's only Peter Obi that can say concretely why he left.
Well, it's time for a short break, and when we return, the conversation will continue. Welcome back. Political affairs analyst Jide Ojo is still with us, discussing the possible merger between Peter Obi of the Labour Party and Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party. Former Vice President that Atiku Abubakar has disclosed that he will support the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, if the PDP decides that it is the turn of the Southeast in 2027. Could this be a hint that Obi is planning on returning to the PDP?
That question should have been put to Peter Obi, because I am not his aide. I don't belong to any political party. I do not know what his mind is. I can only hazard a guess that given the fact that the Labour Party is also in crisis, he may wish or want to return to PDP. Because whether we like it or not, PDP is still the second largest party in Nigeria today. And when you look at the strength of PDP in the National Assembly and across even in terms of the number of governors under its control, there are about 13 governors under the control of PDP, where there are 20 governors under the control of APC. But look at Labour Party. Labour Party only has one state under its control. That's Abia. And NNPP has only Kano, while ABGA has only Anambra. So if you are a politician, you definitely know where you should align with, because even in Enugu, some members of the House of Assembly in Enugu who are members of the Labour Party has defected to PDP. And who knows how many more will defect, given the crisis, the leadership crisis. Initially, it was the leadership crisis in Labour Party was between Julius Abure faction and Lamido faction. Now that the court has recognized Julius Abure's faction is now facing an internal crisis, recall that the treasurer of Julius Abure's NWC accused him of, abuse of office, corrupt practices, and all of that. And even though, Julius Abure dismissed those claims, we have also seen the Nigeria Labour Congress, who claim to be the owner of Labour Party, saying that they do not recognize the leadership of Julius Abure, and that the convention that returned Julius Abure as the national chairman of Labour Party is null and void. So already there is a leadership crisis in Labour Party. And any smart politician will cash in on that to jump ship. Because if Peter Obi chooses to stay back in Labour Party for the next 100 years, he may never win the presidency of Nigeria. I'm saying this speculatively. Labour Party has been in existence since about 2003. But the best it has achieved has been the Mimiko governorship in Ondo State. Two-term governorship of Mimiko, Dr. Abdulrahman Olusegun Mimiko. And you could see that towards the tail end of Mimiko's second term, he defected back to PDP. Mimiko is today a chieftain of PDP, but he was a governor under Labour Party. We do not know whether Alex Otti will also defect to PDP, but at least that's the only governorship, that's the only state. It's only Abia State that Labour Party has. So, contesting for presidency of Nigeria is not a tea party. You cannot win the presidency of Nigeria on a party that does not have national spread. That is the point I'm trying to make. Labour Party does not have national spread. How much of impact is Labour Party? How much impact does it have in Southwest, for instance? Out of the 6 states in the Southwest, how many seats has it won? Even in Lagos, they only have 1 member in the Lagos State House of Assembly. So in South, in Edo State, they had a senator, but the Edo State House of Assembly is predominantly APC and PDP. So what I'm saying, in essence, is that unless Peter Obi is not going to contest in 2027, if he wants to contest, it's better he goes back to PDP early enough, lobby his way, make sure that they zone the presidency of PDP to the south. At least that's the best that can happen. If they zone it to the south, he should be ready to contest with other like-minded Southerners. Because while he is from the southeast, there will be those who want to contest from the south-south. And we do know that in the whole Nigeria, the strongest base of PDP today is southeast and south-south. And even the southeast dominance of PDP has been eroded because out of the 5 states in the southeast now, only Enugu, I think it's only Enugu that is now PDP because Anambra is ABGA, Abia is Labour, Imo and these other states are now Imo and Ebonyi are APC. So you can see the diminishing value of the power of PDP in the southeast, but they can still rally around one of their own if there is zoning to the southeast. But if you go further down south, you know that Bayelsa is under PDP, Akwa Ibom is under PDP, Rivers is under PDP, Delta is still PDP, Those are 4 states. Edo is still PDP, that's 5 states. And only Cross River is under APC. So when you look at it, you have PDP controlling 5 out of 6 states in the South-South and only 1 state in the Southeast. But PDP has 2 states in the Southwest, and that is Osun and Oyo State. Whether they will now team up and support a Southeast candidate or South-South is still speculative. But long story short, I think the best thing Peter Obi would do to advance his presidential ambition is to go back to PDP, because PDP has a national spread.
So if Obi returns to the PDP, do you feel his obedient movement is ready to embark on the journey as it was in 2023, or will his return to the PDP be rejected?
Again, this is speculative. Unfortunately, many of the obedient movement people are not registered members of the Labour Party. They are just follow, if I can use that word. They just follow the person of Peter Obi, the same way that the Kwakwansia movement, many of them are not registered members of NNPP, but they believe in the person of Engineer Rabi Musa Kwakwanso. Don't also forget that we had the Buhari movement in 2015. And most of those who supported Buhari are not politicians. They do not even have registration of APC. So I think it's early in the day to just start speculating whether the obedient movement. I haven't seen any office open for obedient movement. If they have office, maybe their tenancy has expired and everybody has gone back to their homes. But movements just sometimes they do act on spur of the moment. Whether there will still be an obedient movement in 2027 is speculative, and it's too early in the day. The administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is barely 1 year old in office. Election is still another 3 years to come. And we do not know what dynamics will play out in the lead up to 2027. And before you can even talk of movement, Peter Obi will first have to get the ticket of whichever platform he chooses to run on, whether it's Labour, whether it's PDP, whether it's even going to join another party, or whether there will even be another mega party that will believe and support a Peter Obi to be the presidential candidate. So at this point, obedience movement is not even a top priority. You first need to get the ticket. When you have gotten the ticket of your party, then you can talk of raising the consciousness of the citizen and form them into a movement to help you to catalyze your campaign and make you to win at the polls. But it's not going to be very easy. But again, it's still some 2-3 years to come. I say advisedly 2-3 years to come because before serious politicking will start to happen, it will be from the third quarter of 2026 and then the first quarter of 2027. So that is still some time to come, but we'll wait to see how all of this will pan out eventually.
Well, we'll wait to see the outcome of this possible alliance between Atiku and Obi ahead of 2027. Mr. Jide Ojo, political affairs analyst, thank you for lending your thoughts on the program. And that's how much we can take on this episode of the program. Many thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.